Welcome to the Diner Podcast, where we eat our lunch for breakfast.
Welcome to the Diner Podcast. I'm your host, Red Velvet. With me as always, Uncle Lump.
Hello, I'm back.
And today we are coming to you live. And Uncle Lump is back from his assignment.
I am. I love that you kept using I was on assignment. No,
Yeah,
Uncle Lump was just getting very angry and needed a little breather.
He's turning into the Hulk.
Yeah. Well, so I've learned throughout my journey that was one of my, I like to let the emotions get the best of me sometimes and lash out at things. So it was one of those.
Lash out rationally? Is that?
Yeah, I do every now and again. But we were talking about it before we started. I just obviously with what we're doing, we're on with this all the time. Like, this is what I think about constantly. We're trying to, move it in the right direction, find that success, I guess. Like, we've definitely found success, but continuing to evolve this and figure it out. And it gets mentally taxing. So I've lived life at a lot of jobs that that was why it was tough. I had one job that you literally had to schedule your vacation in January for the year. And then there were no sick days or personal days. It was just work. That was, and then, you get the places where you have to overtly justify why you're sick and need to use one of the PTO days that you have. And it's
why are you sick?
Yeah, because I don't want to fucking come to work today. I'm sick of this shit. And yeah, so when I start getting that, I don't know, you get that things start pissing me off and it's oh, I don't want to feel this way. I don't. So I was hey, I think I texted you that Monday morning and was hey, I'm taking a break for a couple of days. I'm just going to recalibrate and kind of figure it out. More than welcome to plug somebody into whatever you need to do. Or if you need help with anything, let me know. I'm still here, but I'm going to dip out for a couple of days. And I played some golf and walked in nature and got myself back collected. And yeah, here we are. I'm back.
You didn't see any snakes on your adventures, did you?
Huh?
You didn't see any snakes on your
No, thank God. I'm not a fan.
No, I'm not.
I've seen a lot of videos on anytime I get on Twitter lately, I feel like there's always a snake video. One of them was there was a flood and there was a giant anaconda swimming through the waters of a flood. I'm that is fucking terrifying.
I'm on Snake Talk right now on TikTok. It's wild.
Why? Why would you put yourself?
Because I watched the video and then the algorithm.
So start searching for puppies and things. Get the algorithm back to
snakes. Kind of
things,
fascinating me,
snakes.
On a screen. I don't mind. I watch people mess with cobras and stuff all the time.
No,
but I can't see a garden snake. I'll freak out.
So I've gotten better. I used to not even be able to watch. I think it was that stupid Anaconda movie I watched.
Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube.
Yes. I was already not a fan of snakes. Okay, so let me go back to the beginning of my original fear of snakes. We had a cabin on a river for a long time that we would go out and camp and hang out, whatever. So there was an outhouse at the place. So one of the times I went in there to go to the bathroom, there was a snake swimming around in the thing. And I was oh, hell no. And I think from that point on, I've had that fear to where then you see videos of snakes coming out of toilets and shit. It's oh, fuck, nope, don't like that at all. And
you do a double take before you sit down to use the bathroom?
I used to, yes. I had PTSD from it for a long time, where that was always a thought was oh, I'm going to get a snake's going to come out and bite me in the ass, or yeah, not feeling that at all. That sounds absolutely horrendous. One of my worst moments with a snake, I believe, was I was working in cable and I was out with my uncle working, and I walked up to a door and knocked and nobody was home. So I turned around and went to walk, and there was a snake on the porch. And I did a run and jump at it. And my uncle was what are you doing? And I was there's a snake. And it was maybe this, it was a little bitty
Did it coil and try to jump up and get you?
No, I just saw it and it immediately internal guttural fear and went, fuck this, and took off running. And that was, but you were with me one time when I did that mushroom hunting. I believe I
you
yelled.
run on water. I talked about that on my TikTok live last night. I did get on TikTok live. I was just bored.
Oh, look at you!
I made 8 cents. high roller here.
Hey,
And,
more than
but
you
I wanted
had
to try
normally.
it. I wanted to get back in the swing of TikTok, and so I got on there for about 45.
Yeah.
And we were talking about snakes or something, and I said, man, you get me anywhere near a snake, I'm the fastest person in the world. I said, maybe Jared could be a close second to watch him run on water.
I left the lady that I was with in the woods.
Hey, at that point in time, when you're looking at that, you're basically looking at the devil, according to the good book. You see the
I believe
devil.
I got yelled at for that, and I said, "What part of fuck snake did you not understand?" I thought that was the universal term for turn around and run fast.
Well, you know what? All in all, we kind of knew that relationship wasn't going to work out. We should have known right then and there.
Why? Because I'm an asshole and I left her in a woods.
That could be. I don't know, but I'm just saying that should have been a red flag right there. He will leave you for a snake. Anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. Sometimes you got to accept responsibility for things.
That's true.
But what happened was we were going mushroom hunting, and I had taken a step, and I looked down, and a snake literally went across my foot, and I kicked and went, "Fuck snake!" And I turned around, and I was, other than me running away from said snake, I did not give a shit about anything.
I didn't even see it, and I was about 100 yards away from you, and I just heard you say that, and I took off running. You would have thought, there was like the biggest python in the world with the both of us running, because I didn't see it.
Well, I mean, all I saw was it crawl across my leg. I have no idea how big that one was, but I will say it was at least like yay wide, because it covered most of my shoe, if I remember correctly. And it just was like, it went. I just remember it going across my foot, and I was like, "Fuck, snake!" And I turned and ran and was gone. And I remember being at the car, and then, yeah, I got yelled at because she came out a little later. You just left me. I was like, "Yeah, my bad."
Well, you know what? In my defense, that was the devil that touched me.
Yep.
And I don't want.
And like I said, there was a teeny little snake on that porch that I turned around and leaped. And one time I was at the same uncle that I was with that time had a house. I forget where it was at, but there was a river behind their house, or a creek.
Martinsville, I believe.
Yes, you're correct. And when I walked out, I had stepped on a snake, and it fucking bit the back of my shoe, and it was like attached to my shoe, and they had to knock it off. So I've had a lot of encounters with snakes that I'm not a fucking fan.
Yeah, good thing, because in that area there were copperheads. Good thing it wasn't copperhead. And I remember one time my dad told me a story. He was burning trash at my grandma's house, the house you actually lived in at one time. There was trash. There was a barrel that he burned trash in.
There was a stripper pole there at one point too.
Huh?
There was a stripper pole in that garage at one point.
That was in the garage. Yeah,
it's not mine.
It's not.
Wasn't that yours either?
No, it wasn't Jared's. I was trying to get the timeline. No, it was not yours.
It was not me.
But he felt something just like
administration
hitting his leg, and I go, "What was hitting your leg?" He said, "I stepped on a snake, and his tail was like copped up, and he started smacking him across the leg."
Oh.
I said, "What'd you do?" Because I'm like 7.
Yeah.
I already know what I'd do. I'd run, jump, scream, and cry probably. And he goes, "No, I just stepped off of it," and he went away. I'm like, "Okay, you're more of a man than I am." But he's also so like at my grandparents' house. It's an old farmhouse. It was built in the early 1920s. I can't say 20s anymore because we're in the 20s now.
Yeah, we're in the 20s again.
It was built in the early 20s, and anyway, there was a noise and it spooked me.
Oh. I was like, "The fuck is that? What are you looking at?"
Well, you know, my weather channel daughter already told me this morning. She goes, "It's going to rain at 6 and 7 tonight. Thunderstorms." I'm like, "Thanks, Kevin Orford."
You had literally, that's kind of cool though. You have a little mini meteorologist.
She had her phone in her hand, but she was like that determined to tell me when.
But that's good knowledge to have. I didn't realize some people do not ever look at the weather. Like they just wander through life aimlessly, never checking the weather.
That's
like
me. I just look up at the sky.
Up against.
I just look at the sky and okay.
I will sometimes plan, like we've talked, my wife's asked like what we want for dinner for the week. And like, there's even been times where I've looked like what the weather's going to be. Cause I'm like, you know what, let's see what it's going to be. Well, you know how like sometimes like the weather, you'll kind of feel in the mood for different things. So I'll even look at that sometimes. Cause I'm like, let's see what the weather's going to be like. I might be like a rainy day soup kind of mood. We'll see what we're looking at. So then you kind of, I don't know, decide that way.
I did have soup yesterday at the OG at the Olive Garden.
Oh, which one did you get?
At first, The chicken ganache.
Gnocchi.
Huh?
Gnocchi.
What is it?
Gnocchi.
Yeah.
Like Nookie, but gnocchi.
But yeah, the chicken started with a G in the second word. I got that the first time. And
OG chicken.
It was pretty good. And
it is. That's my favorite one.
I didn't know because I go, oh, you have soup. And you know me, I'm looking at like chili and chicken noodle and tomato.
But you're at an Italian place.
And I opened it up, and then it was like, I don't understand what any of these are. I said, I'll take that. Give me the chicken. I said, the chicken ganache. And I looked at him like a moron. He goes, you got it, pal. And thanks, buddy. And then he set it down in front of me. I'm like, okay, this, because I didn't even read what was in it. Nothing. I just saw chicken. That's the only word I understood.
The chicken ganache.
I go, I'll take that. I look, it's like Italian dumplings. And I'm like, oh gosh, did I just get something that I do not like?
You made a good choice.
It was really good. But my wife got the other thing. It looks like chili. I don't know what you call it.
Minestrone, I think. Minestrone,
maybe
something
maybe
like
that.
that.
F. I don't know. Fracciatellani. I don't know. But it looked like chili, but it was not chili. It looked like something. So I got that. And he comes back around. He goes, do you want another bowl of soup, sir? I said, yeah, give me that. And I just pointed at hers. And he goes, do you want, he called it. And I go, yeah, what, that. And
I want to pull up their menu and have you try to pronounce things now.
We can do that. But
very entertaining.
But Jasmine called it like the poor man's meal or something. I go, oh yeah, that fits me right there. I'm white trash like that.
Salad and breadsticks. It's like whatever. Super cheap.
There's a spider on my computer. God.
Oh. Did you just kill it?
Yeah, I did.
So rude.
You know what? There's one thing. Oh, we got to get back. I didn't finish my dad's snake story.
Dude. Oh yeah.
We're gonna back circle around.
Well, that's what happens on this. For anyone, like, we don't do these live very often, so there is no editing. So this might be ongoing because I get really lazy and I hate fucking putting these out all the time. It's one of those where I forget, and then at 6 o'clock in the morning I wake up to get ready with the kids, and I'm like, damn it, I forgot I got to put a podcast out, and then I frantically rush and go put it out. So that's generally my method.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out to the 14 people watching us on X right now. Thank you. And the one person on Twitch. So thank you all.
Cool.
Keep watching. But my grandparents' house, my grandpa dug by hand a basement, like with a shovel and a wheelbarrow. But it's the old architect's tile. So it's got holes and stuff in it. Perfect place for snakes. And the snakes are notorious for being down there. Especially when nobody lived there. Nobody lived in that house for 10 years. So it's just empty. So it was like
you didn't tell me any of this shit.
Not the house you lived in.
Oh, I thought you were still talking about that one.
The farmhouse.
You didn't tell me any of this stuff.
No, there might be snakes in that house too. But I'm talking about the farmhouse. But my dad went down. My dad still stores stuff down there. And he always like, hey, let's go down to the basement and get stuff. I'm like, I don't like going in that basement.
Yeah.
Any reason, because I found snake skins taller than me. I'm good. I don't want to be in there. So he goes down there. And mind you, my dad is 73 years old. So this was he's about 71 when this happened. He found a snake getting in, like, the edge of the architect's tile. It's got that cross member.
Yeah.
It's 4 holes. It was in there. He sticks his hand in there, fights that thing out. While it's like sitting there fighting him, he takes a brick from overhead. He finds this brick and just beats this thing to death with a brick in his hand.
And this is your dad?
This is my father.
This clearly skipped a generation.
Yeah,
I can see your daughter doing that, but you not a chance in hell.
No. Well, that's what I go, you did that. He goes, well, I didn't want it to get in the house anymore. I had to take care of it. I'm like, I just burnt the house down. We would fix that right there.
Yeah, fire is a great way. Well, I actually found, I want to show you this. That one I was talking about of the flood, that whatever the fuck that giant ass snake is in the flood. Check this shit out. I'm going to pull up our Twitter.
What?
Yeah, look at this shit.
That's why I don't go to Thailand, man.
Yeah, fuck all of that.
We living in a grass house and a big snake just eats the whole house. I'm good.
I've never made it. I don't know if you actually get to see its head or anything. I've never made it to the end of the video because I was like, nope, I'm good.
It got stuck in a drain. It got stuck in one of them tile drains and it can't get out.
Yeah, I got to a point where I was like, nope, I'm good. I don't need to see the face of this thing. It looks terrifying enough.
I remember we were working in a house one time out in the wood and we found a 7-foot black snake.
Ooh.
And the best part was my brother found it first. He was with the electrician because we gutted this thing. I mean, it was just studs. And my brother goes in this closet and he's like looking, like, because they're looking at the electrical panel.
Yeah.
The snake dropped its head down behind my brother. My brother turns around face to face with said snake. My brother with one arm, this is pre-stroke, with one arm scoops up the electrician and boom, gone.
Yeah. See, that's the more logical approach, I think. Rather than like scooping up the snake and trying to do something, just running the fuck out. It seems like the always logical when you're dealing with the snake.
I'll fight the snake if like I'm trapped, but if I got room to run, I'm out.
Oh, that fucking Tool Time episode where it crawls out of the wall.
Dude, and goes that's episode like 2.
That gave me those like heebie-jeebies too. Like, oh fuck that.
Yeah. I watched that because I thought that was later in the series, and I was like, "That's episode 2." Episode 1 where he electrocutes himself with the dishwasher. Episode 2 is the snake episode, and I'm like, "No way, no way!" Oh, dude, I've been on a kick now. I've been watching King of Queens.
Oh, that's a good one too. I watched that a lot throughout my years of life.
Oh yeah, well that and like Rocket Power, and I watched a lot of Nickelodeon as a teenager.
Yeah. Ooh, what was your favorite old school cartoon? Like what's your that you can still watch now? Well, that you can like sit and still watch now, like something that you watched as a kid that like you can still like if your kids are watching it or like it's just on, it's like, oh, okay, like I don't mind this one.
King of the Hill.
Okay, I mean like actual kids cartoons.
Oh,
like so mine would be like because my kids really got into Cat Dog for a little bit, and it was like, oh, okay, like for whatever reason, it was like that nostalgia. Like I definitely watched that one a lot as a kid, so it was like, okay, this one's cool. Like Doug was another one that they watched that I was like, oh, this is awesome. I would catch myself watching it after they went to bed.
It's like so a lot of the cartoons I watched when I was a kid, my kids don't watch. Like they watch mostly it's YouTube. But
have you tried though, like to get them to watch them?
I've tried. We've watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. We've watched Dragon Ball Z. Kai and I got pretty deep into Dragon Ball Z. We watched all of Dragon Ball and then most of Dragon Ball Z, and then he got out of it. Anna does not give two craps about any of that. We did watch we watched Squid Game together.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's good parenting right there.
You're a good father-daughter.
I've tried I think we've watched a couple episodes of Hey Arnold if we find it.
Move it, but football head.
I'd say my all-time favorite cartoon, like kids cartoon, I can't watch anywhere anymore is Rocket Power.
Oh, that's a great one. Paramount Plus, I think, is where that one was at. All the old Nickelodeon ones, I think, are on Paramount Plus.
What about All Real Monsters?
Yep, it's on there. Okay. That's where I think I watched them all. Doug, it's all the old Nickelodeon cartoons are all on Paramount Plus, I think.
It needs to be on Disney Plus because that's what I do have.
See, I don't have Disney Plus. That because we wanted to watch Recess. She was talking about something. Oh, she was talking about flipping over the bars. We were at the park the other day, and I told her that her mom was going to swing over, and she was like, "She can't do that." And I was like, "Yeah, there's a whole episode on Recess about that." She's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Have we never watched that?" Because her brother used to watch it all the time, and that's always a fun one. Also, she's been super into
wiggity.
wiggity. Yep,
George Porker coming in.
She's been super into Fairly Odd Parents lately, which isn't a bad one either.
That's
I don't
a
mind
good
that
one. Like, oh, what was the thing on that? It was like the kid's tripping balls. Like that's his real parents or his fairy godparents or something. They were some like thing I saw.
Like a weird. They aren't good parents. Like the actual parents are. They are never home.
No, what's up with all the '90s kids cartoon moms being thick?
Yeah, well, it must have just been a thing back then. That was just what all the writers were.
That's what molded our entire childhoods here.
Yep. I'm convinced though that is like that because obviously with like the MK Ultra stuff, that's what they were kind of studying was how to like essentially utilize media to warp the mind, I believe. Mm-hmm. So obviously the way everything kind of played out through our childhood into now and the way like people think, the way people spoke, whatever it was, and you kind of look back and go, oh shit, this stuff kind of shaped the way people were talked to, the way people were parented, the way like it really does work. And then it's still that way now where you have these whether it doesn't matter what world you're in. It could be WWE, sports, politics. They all utilize kind of the same thing where it's all just a big game to keep you distracted. It seems like they just flood all of it with everything. And it kind of plays into like the wrestling world. It's just the easiest one to talk about because it's obviously the less likely to get fucking screamed at by somebody when you speak about it. But like the way the internet wrestling world operates, and like they almost have this entitlement where they're almost conspiracy theorists for wrestling that come up with these storylines or these ways they want this to go, and then it doesn't go that way, and then they start getting angry and they're like, oh, worst thing of all time. Well, it's because they didn't meet your weird expectations. Like, you're not in that world, you're not in the writing room, you have no idea. Now there are things where it's like, oh, why'd they do it that way? That was super wonky. Like, but just to be mad because this person won over that person and you think that this is like a bad direction of the company, like, yeah, that's very weird because you have no idea what the plan is. Now it does seem like there's some infighting with Triple H and The Rock right now, which is hysterical and very fun to watch along with.
That's what I saw this this morning actually, but I want to bring it up. I don't know. Apparently this gorilla versus 100 men or something.
Yeah, that's been an ongoing.
What is that about anyway? Is that one of them simulators?
Yes. So they basically were showing what if 100 men could take down a gorilla, and the gorilla fucked them up
absolutely
every time. And then so then it's been an ongoing like back and forth of like 10,000 gorillas versus 1 million men. And
I watched that, dude. Them gorillas. I don't think they lost a single gorilla.
Yeah, they lost 2, I believe. I believe they lost 2.
Where do you find the simulator at? Because I'll spend hours on it.
So AI, I'm assuming is how they did it, but I watched one where they took that. You remember that Flippy Bird or whatever it was, where you tap it and you had to go through the Mario tubes with the bird? That they were showing how they used AI and they prompted it to basically recreate that game, and they were like creating a functional version of that game with these open AI models, which is insane. But I'm assuming that's how it's being done. Is these people are just really, really smart.
I thought there was a simulator game or something like that.
There could be. I have no idea. There might just be some way they're doing it, but I think you can do that shit on AI. Also, I learned through AI yesterday that we could make, those action figures we made, the wrestling figures.
Yeah,
they're really not that hard to get done. Like,
really?
AI taught me how to do it yesterday. It like walked me through. I told you I get really bored during the day, and I start fucking with very random things because I need something to occupy my brain. So I started trying to figure out how to make our action figures real yesterday. Okay. But you use programs to like 3D model us, and then it plugs in, and that you can 3D print them to like get the idea. And then there's places that you can buy whatever the kits that mold those, and then you basically just create a mold. And you can recreate them however many times you want, but there's like a whole process to it. And apparently they sell kits that you can make your own action figures. So I'm going to have to do more research because I have not like fully dove into that rabbit hole, but I do have the whole breakdown on AI of how to do it.
Wow. Well,
but I get really mad at the 3D modeling thing. I tried to do it a couple times by myself, and it was not up to my brain's capacity. And I was getting really pissed off, and it was another one of those, okay, got to walk away. I'm getting angry at a computer that I like, because I do the same thing. I give myself very unreal expectations, which is why I see that with like the wrestling shit. Like I'm with like that with everything. I see it going away in my head, and then it's like, okay, that didn't happen that way. How do I change course to get there? So it's just the same thing, like having that perspective of like, okay, hey, this is just me giving this an expectation. Like I don't know what's going to happen. So you kind of stay level, I guess, without having those like highs and those low crashes where like, because I realized like same thing with like literally like we went to this expo this weekend. We were kind of talking about that beforehand, and you kind of have that, which we had a lot of really cool things that happened at the expo. We had a lot of fun, but then there were also a lot of negative that went with it, like kind of perspective shifting things that went with it. So then to where I had this uber positive outlook on going to the expo, what it ended up being wasn't that. So to not let that like deter what I'm doing or change like the way I'm acting or whatever, that normally I would have taken that shit on and it would have been like, oh, fuck this. Like you kind of get negative or you get down. And don't get me wrong, like I torched a lot of things this past weekend, but I felt like compared to like what I would have been a couple years ago, very, very different.
Yeah. Well, that's what it was. We almost changed our perspective a little bit. We were focused more on the wrestling and it was more being fans, talking to fans.
Well, that was part of what, like, I feel like we learned there, where last year we totally went as fans. That was, we went there as fans. We went there to have fun, and not that we didn't go there to have fun this year, but it was a different mindset. Like, we're another year into this business. We've gotten a lot further in the wrestling world. We've gotten a lot further in this world. So there's a lot of opportunity there. So to go at it from a marketing standpoint this time made way more sense. So then we bought the table. We set up all of our stuff, and we had a lot of cool interactions. We got to talk to Teddy Long. We got to meet a bunch of cool independent wrestlers. We got to meet a bunch of cool podcasts that are wrestling. But it was like the learning of like the mindset, I guess, was so fascinating. I don't know how. Well, I'm assuming it was the same for you, but
it was just I had fun. But around 3:00 on Saturday, I was like, I want to go home. I think exhausted.
And I did go home. I dipped the fuck out.
I mean, I was going to sleep, and I wanted to go get an energy drink. I never did. I should have just went.
I think that's when it hit me too. Was about that Saturday afternoon. Because everything else it was a blast. I think it was just that, like, the exhaustion, and it really slowed up early afternoon, and it was like it cleared out, and it was like, what, like, we're just kind of wasting time at this point, and there's no wrestlers still here. The crowd's cleared out. Like, all right, we probably gotta.
Yeah, I went to that VIP party.
How was that?
I don't know. I didn't go. I said,
I thought you said I went to the VIP party.
That's probably where all the people went, was to the VIP party.
The VIP party was the Pasquelli's pizza we went to beforehand. That was freaking delicious.
That was really good. And it tastes even better cold the next
You're
day.
welcome.
Thank you. Because I got home at like 2, and I Jared's got my pizza.
Yep. I almost texted you and told you to come by and get it if you wanted it, because I immediately put it in the fridge when I got home, because I was like, oh, this was really good pizza, and he is going to want this, and he's going to be pissed off if I do not. Because he definitely did not remember it was in my car, and I will take care of it like my own.
I appreciate that, because I was like, man, but I was so zonked. And then I had to go pick up Kai. He called me at 4:30, and I just fallen asleep. And I'm like, oh, that's where you at. I'm just driving, and he gets in, and I just getting home, and I pass.
Yeah.
And I was like, so the whole next day, I was just dead to the world. And I did get my pizza, and I think I ate the entire pizza.
It was phenomenal. I finished mine off when I got home. I finished it off. I was like, oh, I'm still hungry. I want the rest of it. But I told you, I think we left pizza, or maybe on the way to pizza. And I was like, hey, if it's not going to annoy you, there is a solid chance that I am dipping the fuck out as soon as we get back, because I am over it and I am ready to go home.
It was. Sorry. I think I'm still tired from it.
Yeah.
But it was the show was okay. It was pretty good. But by that time, I was ready to. We couldn't leave until the show was over anyway, because we had to take the stage down.
Yeah.
So I was.
Yeah, my bad. I kind of left you guys hanging on.
Oh, no, it's fine.
That was why I felt bad, because I didn't want to leave you guys with more work. But I was like, that's going to be. Because what time did you take the stage down? Like 11?
Yeah, I mean, I got out of there. I think it was around midnight when I was leaving, and because we went down to the after party to see. Kyle's like, you want to go to the after party? I'm like, I gotta literally walk by the after party to go to my truck. But I'll go to the after party and see what them. We stopped him, said our goodbyes, but it was just, I was like, I just want to come home. Like, I want to sleep in my own bed, and because I knew if I slept in a hotel, I'm gonna wake up and have to go drive an hour anyway. So I might as well drive an hour now,
and just get
it over with. And then Kyle and I were racing on the way home.
We kind of flip-flop positions this weekend. Normally, you do what I did, where you're ready to just Irish goodbye it and dip the fuck out. And I'm like, okay, hey, we have to at least go tell people goodbye. We can't just. And this time, I didn't even I went down the stairs where it comes out on that first floor, And then I realized that if you went right, it wrapped around to that door that we walked into. So I didn't even have to go back through the line or the crowd. I went down, I went to the right, and I just dipped out the back door, got in my car, and fucking left.
Well, like Friday night, I felt bad because you're like, hey, can you, like, we get back from Arby's, which, mind you, this guy, sorry, wrong finger. This dude tried making a short left turn into 3 oncoming lanes of traffic.
It was the off ramp, I believe, is where
and I go, what are you doing? And then,
in my defense, the police officer that was in our car took my phone that was giving us directions, and he was in no way.
Tell you you're going the wrong lane, though.
Yeah, it was my fault, but it's easier to say that I did not have the phone. But no, my eyes suck. My contacts were dry as fuck. And I about took a little bit too short of a turn.
I remember you made a wrong turn at the Arnold probably about 10 years ago into about 6 lanes of oncoming traffic. And I'm like, what are you doing?
When did I do that? I don't remember.
That was when we were in Kurt's mother-in-law's Mercury car.
Oh, shit. Okay, yep.
We left getting food somewhere. There's 6 of us in this damn car. And I was like in the front seat, half asleep. And I wake up and I see, why are there so many headlights coming at us?
So I'm just not a good driver, apparently. That's happened to me a lot in life because I remember as a older teenager driving multiple people on 46, there was somebody riding my ass, and I went to get over, and I got over too early, and I smoked the fucking median and ripped out the front bumper of the car, and that did not go well either.
Oh my goodness.
So I just have a habit of doing this. I get a little flighty and like start looking at other shit. So maybe hindsight, he was absolutely right for taking my phone. I should have listened to the officer of the law.
Well, so we get back to the hotel and we're going straight to the wrestling show. You're like, I'll carry the bags upstairs. All right, cool. He goes, can you hold my drink? Yeah, I'll hold your drink. And I was like, where's there? I'm standing watching this wrestling show for like an hour. I'm talking to Austin. And then I look over and Kyle's like motioning for us to come over there. I'm like, okay. I go, I don't know where the hell Jared's at. I said, I still got his drink. And I shit you not, no sooner than I throw that thing away, you text me and you're like, hey, where are you guys at? And I'm like, God damn, I'm mad now. And
so that was another one of my dip out times that I
let me hold the cup.
Well, we got back from Arby's and I was not carrying, because I had the computer and all my shit. We all had backpacks and we were going to go into, and my first thought was like, people are going to think we're going to come in here and bomb this motherfucker. Like, we just all walk in here late with backpacks. This looks very sketchy. And I just didn't want to carry my shit around. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to run up there. And like, I really didn't give a fuck about watching the show. So I was like, I'm just going to run up there and take our bags up there. Well, I got up there and realized my wife texted me. So then I called her. And I was just sitting up there talking to her. And then I finally walked downstairs and I walked back there. I completely forgot you had my drink. So appreciate the like stick to it of holding on to my drink.
As long as I could. But eventually the cardboard was starting to go bad. And
you had it for a long time.
Purposes.
Well, so when I text you, I was on my way down there when I text you. So that had already been a while. But then I still never came down there because I walked down to where it was at and the doors were closed and I knew we didn't have tickets to that show. So I was like, I'm not going to like barrel my way in here and try to explain that, well, I'm here with the stage and I need to go. So I was like, I don't give a shit. So I went and sat in the bar by myself and just people watched. And I think I drank a Crown and Coke that tasted like straight gasoline. And that was a whole nother story. So I was getting through that drink and I was like, it was one of those where I felt like, I don't know, I felt like I should order a drink. I don't ever drink very often. Yeah. And we had a couple. So I was like, fuck it. I'll order another one. Well, it was way more Crown than it was Coke, which I appreciate, but boy, did it not taste good.
For $8, it better be more Crown.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So I'm sitting there like sipping on this thing. And I looked down and I hadn't even made it like a quarter of the way through. And it was like, every sip was like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. So then I started chugging it because I'm like, all right, I can just take big gulps and get the fuck through this and we'll be done. So I'm hammering it every about 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, take another one. And I just hammer it like a shot and put it back down. So I get to about the bottom quarter and I'm getting ready to finish it off.
That's where it's all at, man.
Yeah, well, these 2 kids walk up and start talking to me and he goes, I'm going to buy you a drink. And I'm like, fuck, I don't want a drink. And I was like, no, man, that's okay. Don't worry about it. He was like, nope, He was like, we're here for his birthday and I'm going to buy you a drink. I'm drunk. And I'm like, all right. So he tells the bartender what he wants. And he's like, I'm buying him one too. So in my head, I'm like, all right, when the bartender walks over, I'm going to be like, hey, just throw me a Coke or something and we're good. I don't need another Crown and Coke. So immediately the bartender points at my drink and he goes, another one. And I'm like, damn it. Now I have to drink another one of these. Luckily, it was way more Coke than it was. I don't know if you saw my face whenever those people said that I had to drink. Yeah. I'm like, thanks, I appreciate it. So it was way more Coke, but I got about halfway through it and thought I was going to vomit and was like, all right, I'm just
that kind of happened to me. When you and I went down and got the colored drinks. The
blue, the
orange.
The orange and the blue. That was straight tequila too.
Yeah. Didn't you end up giving me yours?
Yeah, because I didn't want. I was like, I can't do this.
Mine, and I'm drinking yours, and then Cole Radrick sits down beside me, and he orders two big old things, and he goes, "You want one?" I'm like, "No," and then somehow I got another one. I'm like,
"Yep."
I'm like, all right. I look like I should have been on a movie.
Oh yeah, because I dipped out that time too, and I came back, and you were sitting next to Cole Radrick. So apologies, I dipped out a lot this past weekend.
I mean, it's okay. I was hanging out, like Mr. Anderson was 2 seats away from me. The headbangers were on the other side of the bar.
That's why I sat down there, because it was cool, just like people watching, because it was all wrestlers when I was down there. None of them were at that indie show, so there was just a bunch of wrestlers that we've always watched, and it was like, oh, this is neat. I'm just like sitting here hanging out in the bar watching these wrestlers all hang out and interact and like have a good time. So that part was fun. Like it made for a good time.
Yeah, no, it was a fun time. The best part was karaoke that night.
That's great people watching.
It's great. There was a kid up there and he was singing a song and he sucked. And
are you talking about the one that was the rock one?
No, not the special needs kid. I'm not that big.
That was it. Okay, first of all, fuck face. That was way to just like, I was being as nice as possible. I just assumed that was the one you were talking about, and I was but way to make me seem like the asshole.
He sang the rock song, and he did a good job. No, there's some other kid. He was a man actually, and Headbanger Mosh walks up to Kyle and goes, "Hey, we'll give you $100 to spear him."
Oh yeah.
And Kyle goes, "No, I'm not doing that." So then Mosh walks over to Mr. Anderson, and Mr. Anderson, dude, plowed.
Yep.
And he walks over to Kyle and grabs Kyle by the throat and says, "You're gonna spear him." And I'm like, "Oh, somebody call 911." And then you got Blue Meanie in the background just laughing, and Thrasher's just hanging out the bar. He's like,
that's what's the best part about those is like, again, it's all these people that you've watched forever, and you're just like Teddy Long walks up and jumps into our podcast just out of fucking nowhere and grabs the microphone and tells us we're gonna have to go one-on-one with the Undertaker. And it was like, oh, this is so fucking cool. Like that's the shit that I love. But then you see other interactions where it's like, oh, you're a piece of shit.
Soft.
Yep. And you can't teach that.
Oh, you can teach that. You have some manners, you little
bastard. Somebody should teach that. But doing some research, that seems to be the ongoing with that person. So, you know.
I've never been a fan of him anyway. I like.
So I guess my question is, why book those people? Like, why bring that type of dude into that place where
they're gonna get people in? I mean, they will bring fans in. It's all about the money.
Yeah, well, we learned that it's definitely it's like prostitution of wrestlers, or like OnlyFans of wrestling. Was basically like you're paying for a ticket to get into a room to pay crazy amounts of money for a picture, which I get it, make your money, but boy, common decency would probably go a long way with some of these fellers.
One Hall of Famer we saw that had an empty table.
Yeah, and they should listen up.
Listen up. Yeah. But dude, I actually saw that's common because I saw the Dudleys were at WrestleCon or something or some event, and I saw somebody took a picture with them. I saw their table, like the price.
Oh yeah,
and it was $20 for just a cup, unsigned cup. It was $40 for a T-shirt, unsigned, $60 for either an autograph or a picture, and then $100 for something else. We didn't get a combo,
man.
And I'm like,
and it sucks too, because I also understand it from their perspective, because there are also a lot of batshit crazy fans, and there are a lot of like wild interactions. So you do have to.
I get like charging a lot for autographs, because 9 times out of 10 the people are just going to turn around and sell.
But to charge $50 for someone to take a picture of you and me with my cell phone for me to have the memory of meeting you, that seems crazy. Like, I get the professional photo ops. Like, even that, this sounds horrible, but we got a picture with JR and
King.
King. And literally, I felt like we could have went to a wax museum and done the exact same thing. Like, it felt like I was walking into a memorial type thing more than it was like a fun, like it felt sad. So then it's like, all right, get the fuck up there, get your picture and get the fuck out. Do not speak, do not ask questions, and it's like, holy shit. And obviously we got lucky with what we were able to do, but like people are paying, what was like $150 for that?
130.
Like, and again, with like the world the way it is and the amount of money that everything cost, to have these people coming in there and charging that much money and then not like, and I don't give a shit about, like, we got that picture for obvious reasons. We're doing commentary. That was who we watched in our childhood. It was on there, and it was like, okay, hey, that seems like something we should totally do. That'll be pretty cool to have. And then we got very lucky with what we were doing. So we didn't have to do that, but to go pay $135 in this world for that moment, or like, that's fine, because you're getting the professional photography, you're getting this memento you get to take back. But then like to have a $50 picture that you have to have someone else take with your phone, and then that person's an asshole to you, like, I feel like that would inevitably be detrimental to what they're all trying to accomplish, because you piss off enough fans, and it just over time, that word gets out that, hey, you're a dick, that those people stop coming, those people stop, and then you run out of a way to make money. That just seems like you're there anyway. Why be there with a piss poor attitude? And like, because basically the situation that I saw was 2 of them. There was one kid, and they weren't like, there were definitely situations where I was like, hey, self-awareness, like, this is why these wrestlers don't want to talk to you. So I understand that side too. You can't go up and talk to these people in a fucking bathroom. Like, they can't be taking a piss, and you're
like, hey, while you're holding your Johnson there, pal.
Man, I know this is weird, but I'm gonna walk up and talk to you while you got your dick in your hand. Like, there are also that too, and I get that. But there was an interaction where 2 wrestlers walked out of a bar, and this younger feller was standing there and was like, hey man, really love what you did, blah blah blah. And he was like, thanks. And he was like, hey, can I tell you something real quick? And he just looked at him, and it's like, I'm busy, buddy, and just kept on walking, because he had his arm around a girl and was on
trying to lace some pipe.
And it's like, man, you couldn't take 30 seconds to make that kid's day. Like, they're literally paying you to be here. You are making money to do this trip, and you couldn't give them that 30-second interaction.
Because some of them already made the money. A lot of them get paid.
Fair.
So the vendors actually making the money back, recouping, I guess. So but that's the thing, is you shouldn't be so big to be a dick.
Yeah. You know? Well, because the one we were talking about a minute ago, the person had just paid to get something taken with them, I believe. Yeah. And then because we were standing there getting some snacks, and we were watching this interaction happen, and they were literally telling them that the match that they had with someone was one of the reasons they got into wrestling. And the response was basically like, that's awesome, go fuck yourself. Like,
cool, thanks. Good time.
Like, Jesus, man. Like,
and that's what, like, the following Monday, I was in Walmart with my wife, and one of the kids in town, and I know him, he's a sweet kid. He yelled my name, and I made it a point to go over there, talk to him, take a knee, get on his level, bro, and talk to him for 4 to 5 minutes.
You mean you didn't charge him $50 for that interaction?
No. Could have, I guess. I wouldn't.
That was what was wild too. Like we were a vendor, and like a lot of them, like there's a lot of them that were super cool. So I don't want to dwell on the negative.
No, there was
so many of them that were insanely nice, friendly, were having a good time. But then there's the handful of them that walk around and have this like, I don't know, this vibe and anger about them where it's like, don't take the fucking booking then. Like, if you don't want to do this, don't take it. Like, you don't have to be here, motherfucker. And if you do have to be here, then you probably should be nice to people because you're not going to be able to be here if people don't like you anymore. That's kind of how this works. Like, you're here for a limited amount of time. Put on a fake ass smile and tell everybody they're awesome. Like, even if that's not what you're doing, that's great. But in that situation, that's what you're being paid to do.
You're meeting fans, and in any entertainment business, you are nothing without yourself, and that goes for wrestling, sports, movies, TV, music. You are nothing without the fans. So, no, I'm not saying you take 8 hours. Like, if you're trying to catch a flight, you got to do what you got to do.
And for it to be some of the ones that have like had lackluster careers to come in with that mentality, like, you should probably be excited that people are still paying to hang out and talk to you. Like, that should be the thing. Like, especially for the one we were talking about a minute ago that has the rap sheet a mile long, and it's like, hey man, like, you should just
charges.
You should just be excited that you're not in prison and people still want you to come to these things and people still want to be around you and want to deal with this. Like, you shouldn't be being dickheads to people. That is a wild way to, but then you learn, like, these people aren't learning shit. Like, you're not taking what you did and going, oh, okay, hey, I need to be a better person. People keep kicking me out of places. People keep not wanting to work with me. Oh, wait, I wonder why you're at these things and not still going strong. Like, these are the reasons, because you're doing this dumb shit.
Right. And the legend, like, every legend that I've encountered, like, we're talking 80s legends, early 90s, they've all been super wonderful.
Yeah.
All the wrestlers I've encountered were super. I'm not saying like that was just it's like everything. The 2% of the bad always overshadow the 98% of the good.
And that's what's cool about the expo, and that's what I love about it. It's, I guess, let's go into more of a positive thing. It's these legends that you get to go meet and you get to see them in real life, in person. Like I said, getting that picture, like, for obvious reasons, like getting to be in the same room with them, and like, we may never get that opportunity again. So that's something that we felt like, okay, let's take advantage of that and do that. But like, they're happy to be there. They love that. That's still like, that they can come here, they can hit their phrases, they can do their thing. Like, for Teddy Long, he gave us 45 seconds, gave us energy, hit his thing, made us pop for him, had a great time, and he dipped out, and we will forever love Teddy Long because
he came to us, because I just said holla holla holla. He turned around, he said something. I was like, that right there was all I needed.
Yeah,
just that interaction. He goes, "What are you doing? A podcast? What's up?"
Yeah, and then we get to do the right thing, or you're going to go one-on-one with the Undertaker. And apparently Teddy Long should have walked around and gave people one-on-ones with the Undertaker. He might have fixed some things that were going on. But you get the legends that want to be there because they're hanging out with their buddies. They're getting that same fan reaction, I assume, is what they're doing. And then the indie guys are there marketing. They're there meeting these people. They're there making connections with other promotions. And then it was like that small group of that, like, intermingling in between, where it was like, oh, it's almost like they were embarrassed to be there because they don't want to be there, but they had to be there. It was such a weird, and it's like, I just don't take those. Like, but I love that it's a world that these indie wrestlers and these legends can mingle. You have all these different promoters, all these different podcasts are all kind of collectively in the same place, and it can be a really cool, fun thing. But there was just a lot about it that I was like, ooh, gross.
There was a couple of instances, but overall, dude, I'd say I was exhausted.
I've learned I'm a Saturday or Friday only.
You're a one day only guy. He ain't going for the whole weekend. He's 1 day only. No,
I was very, very, very much so ready to jettison out of there and get the fuck home. I was like, all right, I have exhausted my want to do this. I was getting, like I said, I was getting back to that, like, fiery, everything was pissing me off. And I'm like, I'm going to go in here and start, like, yelling at people, and I can't do that. Let's just go home.
Just take it easy. Just take a breath. Just take a breath.
Yeah, I'm learning, though. Like, got to grow as a human.
Hey, me and AJ Kazana, we drink a lot of beer together.
How was that?
Good. I don't say a lot. I think we drink like 1 or 2.
Yeah. But that's what's like, again, that's what's cool. You get to have those experiences with those people. You get to have a good time, meet these people that in normal situations you wouldn't get to meet. You get to kind of see them as people, like which is good and bad.
Tony Atlas, man. I got to sit.
Oh, yeah.
WWE Hall of Famer. I asked him, I said, how much did you bench in your heyday? He goes, 650
How did you say that again?
650 pounds.
Damn. How did you guys run into him?
So he had a match Friday night at Black.
That was during another one of my hiatuses.
Yeah. And Kyle was carrying his bag, and because he wanted a beer. After his match, he wanted a beer. He said, I'll get you a beer. So
okay, back up. How the fuck did Kyle get his bag?
Kyle was sitting on the couch backstage, half asleep, and Tony Atlas sat beside him. Yeah. And then he goes, hey, I need a beer. He goes, where can I get a beer? Well, there's 2 bars, but they're all on the other side of the building. So that's when I looked over, and Kyle was motioning me over. And I said, all right, I'm coming. And I go, and I was hanging out with Tony on the couch. He goes, why don't you sit down and have a seat with me and talk to me? I'm like, all right, cool. And then we started singing some songs together, like a cappella karaoke. And then got his beer,
awesome.
and he pounded the beer. And he goes, I got to go. And he took a picture with us, and he dipped out.
That's so cool. But again, like that's those moments that make you want to go back to it. That's that interaction. Like, and that was just him being a normal dude. And it's like, holy shit, like, I'm sitting here singing songs and drinking beer with Tony Atlas. Like, this is fucking crazy. And you get those, like, I don't know. That's why I think last year we kind of fell in love with it, where you got to just walk around and have these cool interactions. We were riding the elevator with Eric Bischoff and having a cool conversation. And it's like, we've always just loved the business. So then with us getting into the business and doing the ring announcing and commentating, it was like, oh, okay, logical. Let's get a table this time. And it was fun. We have a couple live podcasts that came out last weekend while we were there. We actually have one banked and recorded that we kind of just sat and shot the shit with people and had a good time as people walked up. So
it was a good time. Chris Van Vliet was one. So.
Oh yeah. I had no idea who that was. I do now.
He's like Joe Rogan of the wrestling world.
I saw that. Yeah. I, again, had no clue because the whole time we're talking to him, like, I think we were talking about our microphones or something. Like, it wasn't even anything like of substance. He was just talking about like how nice the microphones. And we're like, yeah, we learned that the ones we ordered on Amazon were pieces of shit. And it really does make a big difference in the quality. And then he was just like, all right, well, cool. What do you guys like? We're just having a normal conversation. You walked away. I'm like, who the fuck was that?
No, it was Chris Van Vliet, baby. Insight with Chris Van Vliet.
I do follow him now. I had no idea that was the thing, but
he's a big dog. But my wife is staring at me. She's really hungry.
It is lunchtime.
It is lunchtime. I better go, or I'm gonna probably not have a ride.
Let's wrap this up so you guys can go get lunch and you don't get beat and or divorced.
No,
your wife.
Thank you to our sponsors, Wabash Valley Plumbing, They Lay Pipe. That's our slogan, not theirs. Peak Performance Gym. No peak, no results. RJ's Formal Wear. They have sweet suits. I still have to take Kai's cuts back.
I still have to take Lumbo's suit jacket back.
And Stitch Brands. They embroider stuff. Well, that's probably what I'll be doing afterwards. It's taking my suit back.
Oh yeah, I need to do that when I go pick my kid up today. I keep forgetting I even have that. I did accidentally order a new one yesterday, so I'll have a new one.
Accidentally order a new one?
Okay, because apparently, well, we'll end on this then. Temu sent me a text. That's where I get my jackets. If you did not know, you can buy sparkly sequin jackets on Temu for very cheap. Now, the tariffs had not screwed me yet, surprisingly. Oh. Maybe it came from somewhere different. I have no idea. But it sent me a text and said, an item that you wanted is 50% off. And my dumb ass was like, oh, okay. So I clicked it, and it was the purple jacket that I had looked at. And I was like, oh, cool. It's only $20. So I clicked to see what the total was going to be. And then it was like, all right, good order. It's on its way. And I was like, all right, well, cool. I guess I'm getting a new sparkly jacket.
Well, there you go. There you go.
I took a hiatus from Temu because I got a couple of things that did not work the greatest. So then I got back to being gun shy. But now we're getting a jacket.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take the both, and there you go.
And there you have the facts of life.
Yep. All right. We're out of here. Keep pushing. Love you.
Love you.